Three other Congress members from key committees who are doing the same thing. We have Ranking Member of the Judiciary Committee, John Conyers, Ranking Member of the Homeland Security Committee, Benny Thompson, and Ranking Member of the Oversight Committee, Elijah Cummings.
Guys, great to have you with us.
Good to be with you all.
John and Benny, I'm not sure why you hang out with Elijah, but you'll have to justify that with your constituents. No, Elijah, let me start with you. We've got two big issues here. We've got police tactics and we've got race. What do you think is the most important part of that focus as hearings move forward on Capitol Hill?
Well, I think both are very important, Joe. Now you have a segment of our society that believes that we're being mistreated and that there is not equal justice under the law. And we just can't understand why you can have a situation like the Staten Island matter with Mr. Eric Garner and a grand jury failed to indict.
So Elijah, what can be done? I mean, I think while there was some debate over what happened exactly on the street in Ferguson, there's no debate with what happened in Staten Island. You've got a lot of people angry on both sides of the aisle. Republicans finally speaking out on this. What positive steps can we put in place to stop situations like this from happening again?
Well, of course, this is why we call for the hearings, but training is clearly something that we want to look at. We want to look at why the grand jury system fails and how federal resources, Joe, are being used by these police departments and whether there needs to be changes. And we're clear that there need to be changes. But again, we need to do the research to try to figure out all the answers, but something has to be done immediately. You
know, Caddy K, speaking of resources from the federal government, Mike Barnicle brought it up a couple of days ago. It's unbelievable that the officers in Ferguson had tanks and basically war machinery, but the officer didn't have mace on his belt or a stun gun.
Toys left over from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. I was going to ask the congressman, there's going to be a demonstration by African-American staffers on the steps of Capitol Hill protesting against these cases in Ferguson and Staten Island this afternoon. A similar demonstration was held back in 2012 by black staffers, also protesting Trayvon Martin's death. Is there anything that's happened in the course of the last 2 years that makes you optimistic that this time around you will see things change within police departments?
Benny, let's go to you with that one.
Well, you know, I think this is just a further example of everyone concerned about what's going on, Joe. As you know, young people felt very touched by the actions in Ferguson and Staten Island. So I think what you see the black staffers here on Capitol Hill doing is expressing their concern that something needs to be done.
Mike Barnicle has a question for Chairman Conyers.
Congressman Conyers, you've been at this game a long time. You represent one of the more troubled cities in our country, Detroit. Apparently, what you fellows and the rest of the committee want to do is study, police procedures and training. Let me ask you, though, do you have any ideas of how we can reduce the amount of suspicion there is toward police in minority communities and attract more minority candidates to jobs on a police department so that it more reflects the community they serve?
Well, I think this is a long-standing problem, first of all. And these two tragedies and others not well known give us an opportunity to examine and discuss and act on this problem. I was able to get into the Department of Justice the pattern and practice law that allows the police or communities to investigate after the fact. We want more resources so that we can get into the training that's been referred to here and do more in terms of getting this understanding going. I see these tragedies as an opportunity for a national discussion, the depth of which we've never had before.
That would be some good news coming out of several tragedies. Let's hope it happens, and thank you guys so much for pushing for it. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
All right.